Naomi, Day 2. How desire becomes distorted. Our devotion for today, breaking soul ties. Some relationships end physically, but not spiritually or emotionally. You may still feel attached to someone who is no longer in your life. That lingering pull is often a soul tie, a deep emotional bond that has not yet been released. God never intended for past connections to block future blessings. He wants us fully present, fully healed, and fully free when love comes again. Let God untangle what is still tied to the past so you can step forward whole. And after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. 1 Peter 5 and 10. As a child, Naomi's body became a place other people entered without permission. What should have been sacred became sabotaged. What should have been protected became compromised. And as an adult, violation lived inside of her like a second spine. Early on, her nervous system learned that security was to be submerged. She had her fair share of toxic men. Physical and emotional turmoil kept her mind bound. But trauma always seemed to untie her chains back to familiarity. Touch meant tension. Attention meant obligation. Soul ties meant connection. So she did what many wounded women do. She learned how to perform closeness from a distance. She felt safe being closed off from any chance of love, which seemed like a fairy tale to her anyway. She knew that teasing this nonfiction performance ran the risk of either being overwhelmingly needed or neglected. And she didn't have the mental capacity for either. Even in consensual relationships, her body would leave before her mind did. She could be physically present while emotionally miles away. She learned how to disassociate by disappearing inside of her own intimacy, a safety net. Climbing up the ladder of love cautioned her to escape the heat from past flames. She protected her emotions by using a psychological hydrant to extinguish any man looking at her with blazing eyes. She was cute, confident, and reassured herself that she knew how to navigate negativity. She built a career in pharmaceuticals. She declared she was complete, even in her incompleteness. His smell stood close to her hormones. Romance now filled her empty cup. Naomi was mesmerized. This one was different. A businessman, a boss man full of charisma, lavish vacations, and a stud who steadied her with a stunning lifestyle. He refueled any signs of her emptiness. She didn't want for nothing, not even for the career she worked so hard for. And when they welcomed their son, Naomi welcomed a son that never was envisioned to shine upon her. One baby after the next. They were married after baby number 4. But shortly, it seemed that intimacy and love moved on opposite ends of town. Her husband's business trips became demanding. Money became an opponent instead of an obligation. And quality time was shortened by appointments only. Naomi was drained. Every time she mentioned going back to work, her man insisted that she didn't need to work. But she was already working, raising children alone. She began to realize that she was married, single. I would like for us to consider today's reflection by looking at the Naomi within us, or maybe somebody close to us. I have a couple of attachment and trauma questions for us to reflect on. The first question, asking ourselves, where did I first learn that love and pain can go together? The second question, What did my nervous system learn about men and safety and closeness as a child? And the last question for the day, in what ways has betrayal felt familiar rather than shocking, where we have normalized it? Thank you for tuning in on today.